Guys, take it from me. I literally walked out of the calculations paper for 20 minutes, walked back in, and I ended up being one mark off. I think I got 24 and the pass mark was 25. So if that doesn't inspire you, and I still ended up passing eventually, I still ended up qualifying and literally I was only one mark off in the mathematics exams, the calculations paper. I think I walked out for 20 minutes, walked back in, and then when my results actually came out, it turned out I was only one mark off. That was not meant to be. And I feel like this is why. I feel like with the GPhC exam, I'd say it's 50% knowledge, but it's also 50% nerves and preparation. And I feel like that day my nerves really let me down. And I remember, now I can say it because I've learned from it and I reattempted it and I ended up passing the second time. I was the first one to finish. I did it in about an hour and I finished the exam, walked off and went to the toilet and I just prayed. I was praying on the way to the toilet, like, thank God. I remember before my exam where I let myself down. I did not sleep, had a lot of coffee. My heart was beating out of my chest. The knowledge was there. However, the preparation was absolutely awful. I did not do any self-care. I didn't sleep for days. I'll tell you exactly what I did to pass the second time round. I was a bit more on the extreme side. Towards the end of my exam, I think the 2 weeks leading up to the exam, I was just doing past papers. Just doing past papers because at that point the knowledge has already been learned. So I would do a calculations paper and then I would take a bit of a break, have a bit of a drink, relax, eat breakfast, whatever I wanted to do. And then I would come back to my calculations paper. I would look at what questions I got wrong, and then I'd write a list of the questions I got wrong. So, for example, let's say there's 40 questions on a calculations paper, and I get 8 questions wrong. Those 8 questions that I get wrong are 3 specific topics. I'd write down those 3 specific topics, and then I'd go to my course provider. So that could be Performance. I've forgotten all the names now, but Performance. So go through the topics that you got wrong. I take a break and I go back to those questions and reattempt it. And I just keep reattempting those questions till I get it right. And then probably the next day when I'm doing half and half revision, half clinical, half calcs, I would redo that paper's questions again, the ones that I got wrong or the ones that I got right, but I was a bit iffy about. Basically leaving no room. I think with the GPhC paper, a lot of it is you really have to be real with yourself. It's not like university where, you can get by. Like, you really have to be honest with yourselves with where you're struggling and addressing that. And you need to feel like you can do it. In order to do that, you need to put in the work and be willing to put in the work. But even before that, there's a bigger thing I need to address. So that's what I did. And if you guys want more information on like what I did for my paper, like genuinely to prepare, leave a comment and I'll make a video. Send me all your questions and I will like make a separate video on it on my channel or on TikTok. Now, separate topic, like my point 3 would be, guys, you will not pass this paper if you do not believe you can. I really, really realized I walked out of that exam because my confidence was so low. Like, guys, take it from me. I literally walked out of the calculations paper for 20 minutes, walked back in, and I ended up being one mark off. I think I got 24 and the pass mark was 25. So if that doesn't inspire you, and I still ended up passing eventually, I still ended up qualifying and literally months later. And I feel like I had to go through all of that to come here and tell you guys this. Like, if you guys do not believe you can pass the GPhC examination, you will not pass it. Like, if you do not have the confidence or audacity, then you won't pass. But you need to believe you can. I thought I was like 10 marks off. I was only 1 mark off, which means if I stayed the 20 minutes, I probably would have passed, but it wasn't meant to be, alhamdulillah. The point is, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if the confidence isn't there, if you don't really think you're capable, if you don't feel like you've done enough, then it might impact your performance on that day. Like, self-care and mental health is really equally as important when it comes to approaching the exam. So yeah, you really need to, I think step 3 is really believe that you can. And then step 4, I'm going to say, either way, it's a positive outcome, and I'll explain myself. If you pass, well done and congratulations, and very happy for you and you deserve this. And if you fail, again, congratulations, because I feel like it's a learning experience. And as long as you're honest with yourself and take it as a learning experience and address your approach, it doesn't always have to be knowledge. It could actually be your technique, your revision technique, or your confidence or your nerves. If you can address those areas and figure out where you fell short, then for sure you'll be fine for the next attempt. And whatever will be will be. It's just not written if you didn't pass this time round. And I know it's harder to hear, but I promise you guys, I was in the same situation, and I did end up passing the second time round, and I was the first one to finish my paper, alhamdulillah. So it's not the end of the world, like, take it from me. I did my second paper. I think I got 33 out of 40 or 34 out of 40 in my second paper, and I did it in about an hour and 10 minutes. I remember coming out of the exam early, telling them that I wanted to use the toilet, and I just went to the toilet and cried. I was just grateful that it was done. And then when I went back into the hall, I remember just watching everybody else do their paper for about 40 minutes and just feeling like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm actually happy with it. I've done enough past papers to feel like, you know what, I did it. I feel like I got that paper right. And not even in a cocky way or overconfident way. I just felt confident in the work I've done. And I just felt like if I failed at this point, like, this really wasn't written for me. This really was not part of my story. And, this was my test, it was my experience. But I had a feeling in my chest, like, I've definitely tried my best. And I definitely believe in myself. The clinical paper, I'm not going to lie to you, for me, on both occasions, quite easy. I feel like it's very doable. Again, if you want me to go through preparation, let me know. It's a learning experience, and you've got this. And for those that are Muslim, don't let shaitan catch you at a weak point and make you overthink. Don't waste this time overthinking. Obviously, process your feelings. So, like, if you need to cry, go ahead and cry. Like, I came home from my exam and just cried because I was just like, I know I failed that paper. I know I failed that paper, and what annoyed me is I knew I failed it by 1 or 2 marks, or I've passed it by 1 or 2 marks, but I know I was so close, and I ended up passing one paper and being 1 mark off in the other paper. And I really feel like that was a sign from Allah to tell me that there's a lesson I want you to learn. And I think that lesson was definitely learned, so I'm so grateful for the experience. So yeah. On the other side of this is growth. I feel like my examination definitely helped me to grow. It was one of the hardest experiences academically for me in my whole adulthood life. Biggest exam of my life. Apart from the exam of life, but with so much growth and wisdom and lessons. So you'll be fine, guys. You'll be fine. Best of luck, guys. Bye.